This episode of Truth Table is brought to you by 10 by 10, a movement dedicated to helping faith matter more to 10 million young people over the next 10 years. Through innovative resources and collaborative efforts, 10 by 10 supports youth discipleship across diverse communities. Visit 1010.org and follow at 10 by 10 Collab on social media to learn more and join the movement. Sisters, how y'all feel? Brothers, y'all all right? If this is your first time at Truth Table, welcome to the table. And if you've been sitting at the table with us all these years, we are so grateful that you have been listening to us through these years, and we are inviting you to partner with us and support our work at patreon.com/truthstable. Now pull up a chair and have a seat at the table with us. Hey y'all, welcome to Truth Table, Midwest Culture for Grace and Truth. I'm Kamini.
And I'm Christina.
This table is built by Black women and for Black women. So welcome to the table. See, how you doing, girl?
Well, it's a time.
Hey,
It's a time. There's a heaviness in the land. There's a provocation, percolations, precipitation. There's problems in the land.
Violations.
But violations. Okay. Yes. It's time for a recentering to take place. Anyway, I can go on and on about that. That's a whole other episode that is just jacked up out here. But besides that,
Still resisting series, the whole thing we've been talking about. I don't know, since the inception of Truth Table.
I'm tired of resisting. I just need it. Why just do right. Do right.
I need a still resting. I would love to get there. Still resting. How about that? My gosh, but the times are timing. It's making it hard to rest.
Still reclined is what I say. That's what I say. But no, it's necessary. How are you doing today?
Well, the times are timing, but I'm glad to be at the table with you.
Yes, indeed, sister.
And our sisters at the table and our folks in the standing room section, because we, Truth Table is always cooking up a little something.
Yes.
We actually have a new series, the first of its kind at Truth Table. We already have
revolutionary.
Yeah, revolutionary. We always
unprecedented.
But in a good way. Unprecedented because now it's just such a traumatic term now for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Unprecedented in a good way, y'all.
Yes.
That Truth Table is really values, the voices and perspectives, of our people, from generationally, social location. You saw that variety a little bit from this season as well, Still Resisting series. And so we are so excited to introduce to you all a new series called Teens at the Table.
Come on, Teens at the Table.
I mean, this is what they doing now.
T.
Or like this, they doing that too.
See, and for those who are listening to this, she's making all kinds of miming gestures. They're doing what's happening? She's hopping and locking is what it looks like from my vantage point.
This is what the kids are doing now. So we're excited. First of all, let me say that we are partnering with our ministry partners, 10 by 10.
Come on, 10 by 10.
For Teens at the Table. This is a ministry that is seeking to make faith matter for teens, as we know that there has been a decline, in the commitment to faith among younger generations. And so they want to help people come to faith, teens in particular, come to faith from about ages 13 to 18, because it's a very critical point in somebody's faith journey. They want 10 million teens to come to faith within 10 years. And so Truth Table shares that mission and that kingdom goal, if you will. And so we thought it would be great for us to partner with 10 by 10 in this way by bringing a Teens at the Table series. What do you think our listeners are going to think about that?
Well, I hope they enjoy it. I hope they sign on. I hope they learn and are willing to listen to the stories, experiences of the teens that we get to talk to that are at the table. And so it's a real, now y'all know that we are selective women. Like, we don't hand the mics over to anybody. And so when we shape our content, we really do bear a great deal of responsibility about who we bring on and what we talk about. And but we were just really excited about bringing young people. That's how you know how old we are, because I say the words young people. Um, to come, the youth, to come to the table and to really as to share their heart, as comfortable as they could be in this context, right, with a mic in front of your face. But really excited to have built out that programming. And honestly, Kimney, you were right at the beginning points of the conceptualizing of that content. And tell me a little bit about what you were thinking in the brainstorm, and shout out to our dear sister Stephanie, who also
Yes.
works behind the scenes at Truth's Table, who's a youth minister and excellent at what she does, who joined
The
us in this
real MVP.
collaboration. Yeah, the real
Mhm.
MVP. Hey, Stephanie.
Yes, it's
But
Stephanie.
but tell us a little bit about kind of the initial dreaming up of teens at the table.
Yeah, so a 10 by 10, they're, I already stated their mission, but they were seeking, or they are, sorry, not were, but are seeking to implement this a faith and service, project. And so they're partnering with several different ministries and giving us the liberty to shape that in a way that fits, with our own ministry, which I'm so grateful for. And so we have a lot of latitude and liberty to kind of dream up what we would want to do. Like, so to me, I thought it was really important for us to hear from an intergenerational experience perspective. It was important, I thought, for us to hear from teens, to hear what they think. How do they think about their faith with regard to politics? How do they think about their faith with regard to mental health? How do they think about their faith with regard to relationships, and so on and so forth? And so we had, when we were ideating, we thought that we would just build out very much like Truth Table episodes that deal with that specific area, and talking some God talk, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
with the teens, to hear what are they going through, what are their troubles, what are their
Mm-hmm.
challenges. Because I know, I mean, I'm old enough to recognize that. Well, first of all, the fashions are coming back. I was like, my
The
gosh, is this
fashions,
where
the
I am
fashions, the
now?
fashions. No, the hairstyles. Hello, come on now.
Hello, I was like, And so, but I recognize that although all those things are coming back, they're dealing with a completely different world. They are dealing with some different challenges. I'm sure there were some
Yeah,
similarities. I could
yeah.
assume maybe some insecurities, something, that some things
Mm-hmm.
do, kind of remain the same. But how does that look like? I mean, how is that exacerbated, or maybe not, with social media?
Mm-hmm.
How does the politics of our day, the polarization,
Whatever do
impact
you
their view?
mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, So I thought, we thought that when we were in the ideation stage, it might be great, to hear from them. What do they
Absolutely.
have to say? Because we have something to learn from them, and that to me was really important. I think that's
That's for
one
sure.
generational hubris that can happen, is that the older generation oftentimes doesn't think they have anything to learn from the younger, and the younger
Oh
sometimes
my
doesn't think they
gosh.
have anything to learn from the
Yeah,
older. And so
for sure.
I don't want to. We at True Table don't want to perpetuate that, and
Sure.
so we didn't want to bar the table from the teens, who are the next generation coming up.
Yeah.
True
They
Table ain't gonna
listen,
be that forever now.
they are now. They are the generation now.
Now.
Mhm.
So yeah. So anyway. So now, what saddened me, though, I'm just telling y'all now. Again, 2025 is 2025ing. And so I went to that airport. I packed my bags.
Come
I was
on.
ready to go.
Come on.
But woo, the airline said otherwise. Okay,
It said turn around.
it said cancellation. I said, what?
It said get your
Cancellation.
bags.
Cancellation. There was
Oh,
nothing I could do. There was
oh,
nothing I
it
could do.
sucked. Yeah. Hmm.
Nothing was going out, and it was due to FAA stuff. Politics. It impacts our
What?
lives.
What?
So, a shortage of those air traffic controllers. That was the first time I ever experienced that in
Yeah.
all of the many years of my travels. So
Seems like an incredibly important position that you would not want to impact or to shrink. So go
yeah,
figure.
it's almost like, I don't know. Elections matter. I don't know. It's weird, but whatever. So I, unfortunately,
Right.
when you watch this series, or listen to it, however you choose,
Yeah.
it is Christina flying solo, being the excellent facilitator and interviewer that she is.
I try.
What was it like?
Yeah.
Talking to the teens about all of these subjects, from mental health to politics to social media. I feel like I'm missing a fourth one, but
Yeah, relationships.
yes,
So,
relationships. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, so I would say, and by the way, to our listeners, you're right. Kimberly's not on the stage, but she's definitely behind the scenes in terms of conceptualizing the content.
Yeah.
And before we went live in our recordings, we had an opportunity to pray with the teens, connect, do some
Yeah.
icebreakers, and so she was there connecting. So it definitely
Yes.
was
Yes.
a team day, a team day. But
And Stephanie too. We
oh
don't want
my
to. Yeah,
gosh,
she.
there is well,
The
Stephanie
queen.
was the glue. Like there's
She was
no,
right now.
and so we just shout out to youth ministers and that incredibly important, vital work that
Yes.
you
Yes.
do
Yes.
and your work. And thanks for listening in. So
Mhm.
yeah, we so first I think we have to just bear in mind that when you're talking about topics like justice and relationships, social media and mental health, they're actually pretty heavy and weighted topics to process through, and whether you grown folk, young adult, adolescent, you name it. And so I was just really grateful for the willingness to participate. So we had a really broad age range of young people, like adolescents, like 12 all the way up to
Oh,
18, had some folks that are
yeah.
about to go to college or are 1 year out. And so that just really made for some, I think, great conversations. We were able to have two panel discussions on the topic of justice, one that involved kind of younger age girls and one that involved older age boys. And kind of the way they think about justice and the church and what they want to hear from the church and the strengths and weaknesses. I found this group of young people to be very thoughtful, and as candid as appropriate for them to be. I mean, this was our first time connecting. I imagine as we continue to build kind of a teens at the table partnership, if that's the future for us, then I can imagine having more and more teens speaking. And obviously, I told you this. I envision a time where the teens do the facilitation as well. I'm like, let me get out of
Yeah.
here. I'm happy to take a seat
They
and
were
help.
very courageous to talk to you,
A
really at all, at all.
hundred
Because some people can be
percent.
very shy and very
Yeah,
introverted and not want
right.
to do that.
Rightfully
Yeah.
so. So Stephanie was great at working with identifying the students who wanted to share, giving them the questions in advance that they could really think through and pray through. And we just had a really, really great conversation. And obviously, I just find them so funny. I mean, the adolescent teenagers got something to say. They got jokes for you. So I absolutely enjoyed it on a personal level. It reminded me a bit of Teen Summit. Shout out to those who
Yes.
know
Yes.
BET's Teen Summit back when
If
the
you know,
content
you
was
know.
content. But it felt
Yeah.
like that too. It felt like a space where people could felt like a place where people could really dive into topics that related to their experience. And obviously, we were working with kids of color, African American kids
Hmm.
specifically, and hearing their story, their hearts. And there's just a need to create that space for all of our youth. But obviously, we have that population near and dear to our hearts. And at the center of kind of the work that we do here at Truth's Table. So, hearing from Black teenagers tell their story and what they thought about those really important topics.
Yes, and then you know what? Can you talk about the gender mix? It's not. Is it just the sister teams at the
No, we had
table,
no, we had no. The fellas were in the house. The fellas were in the
All
house, and let
right.
me tell you, they had something to say, and I was really grateful. I mean, I think one of the standout moments for me is the panel discussion involving the older teen males
Mm,
talking about justice, and
wonderful.
hearing one of those students recount attending their first protest and
Oh,
the experience, why they decided to do it, as they were standing in solidarity with friends and people who reminded them of dear friends, and why they felt like they needed to show up. And also some of the vitriol that they experienced as
wow.
they participated in their first protest, and how they feel like that and their Christian calling, the way their faith shaped them to be in that space. And so they're just some great highlights. And then also to hear the much younger age perspective talk about how they have to care about, because of Jesus, how they have to care about other people. And what
Wow.
I thought was so interesting, again,
They get the gospel.
yeah, and this is a group. I mean, obviously, we can certainly talk about the experiences of people of African descent, Black Americans, and injustice. I thought it was compelling to hear them speak so much about their neighbor outside of their own group. There was this real, especially as it relates to undocumented people, immigration, ICE.
Hmm.
That's a theme
Hmm.
that came up consistently. This real sense
Wow.
of something is wrong with that, and they want to take our friends. It wasn't
Yes, I was
just
gonna
like they
say
want to take
yeah,
folks over here. There was a very close, like, emotional connection to, like, that's my friend. Like, why would you do that to my
that's right.
friend?
That's right.
And it was just a really
Mm,
a strong reminder of our connection, our human bond from one group to the other, even if it's not our exact story. We
that's
should be
great.
standing in solidarity. It's just beautiful to hear kids talk about in such what felt like a pure way. So I think people, and obviously, and they also just say other stuff too that will tickle you as well.
Oh, wow. No,
Along,
no, no. I think that's so powerful, and poignant, because I mean, I'm not completely surprised by that because of the ways in which the ice raids are taking place, and the ways in which this is really
mhm.
just um, you know, it's so intrusive, right? And it's
Yeah,
impacting from the youngest to the oldest, the least to the left out,
yeah,
and I,
yeah.
I love that they have compassion
They have they
for their
oh,
neighbor.
yeah, I don't think there was any indifference. There may have
Wow.
been a sense of, like, I don't know what to do with that, or I don't really know how to work that out yet. But when we think about what we're seeing amongst adults,
Exactly.
you can see a deep apathy. And what I found to be actually heartening and positive was this sense of, even if I don't have the answer, I'm dialed in to care. And
Amen.
I have found that adults are functioning in just the opposite way because they
I
cannot
know.
fix it. They are apathetic. They're
That's
they're
right.
despondent. They're cynical, and it was I don't know, permission to not know the answer, but to still care is one of the
Yeah.
sentiments I felt in that conversation. And I was like, yeah, and maybe, and also, then they didn't say this, but it reminded me of, like, what it means to have childlike faith, that you
Hmm.
actually don't have to figure it out, but you
Yeah.
still lean in, right?
Yeah.
You
You
still
still
you
lean in.
still raise your hands to a loving God, and
That's good.
and that's what the Lord invites us to, is that even if we can't figure this out, to still care, to still stand in solidarity.
10 by 10 is a movement committed to working together with churches, denominations, and Christian organizations to create a healthier Christian ecosystem where young people's faith can thrive. 10 by 10 focuses on providing the resources that faith communities need to prioritize youth discipleship. By working collaboratively with over 100 organizations, 10 by 10 aims to raise youth discipleship to a top priority for ministry leaders. Visit 1010.org and follow at 10 by 10 Collab on social media to learn more. Together, we can inspire and uplift the next generation in their faith journey. Wow. And I think it's a powerful corrective on another front with regard to adults, their own apathy, right? There's that sentiment out there like, well, it's impacting them. That's what they voted for. When we start
Sure,
getting into the
sure.
they thems, we start
Yeah,
getting
but I'm
into some
like, the
trouble.
undocumented people did not vote because they undocumented, but I digress.
Exactly.
Put
It's
the
like,
pieces
huh?
together, saints.
They did not. But okay. Yeah, but I understand what they're saying. I
I
get it.
get it.
So I'm not gonna try
I
to
get
get
it.
I get it.
I get it.
But
Maybe it was their cousin, you know what I'm
oh,
saying?
hello, and that's
Hello.
another conversation. That's another
Hello.
conversation for sure. That's their family business. They got to work out. But
Yeah.
at some point, we got to understand that we belong to one another. We are in a
For
social
sure.
contract. I know that everybody didn't quite get that in November, but but
Girl,
what
get
happens to
ahead.
them will eventually happen to us. You cannot think that that's something isolated and that's them over there. And so
Yeah.
anyway, I just love to hear that coming out,
Mhm.
or how can I say, showing up in their praxis,
Yeah.
even if they can't articulate it
Yeah.
just like that, they live it, right? And they're showing that
Mhm.
compassion. And I think that matters more than anything,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, another thing is, I listen to you, what I realize now in retrospect is that they didn't actually sound afraid.
Mm,
They were concerned.
mhm.
They were, and obviously it's several students, but I think the overall sentiment, because I think honestly, when I listen to adults talk, even like politically minded adults, even folks that are just like filled with the Holy Ghost, I am definitely hearing some like, this is crazy, like we are afraid, kind of. And I'm not judging it or knocking it. I find myself in the numbers most days, but but I think
Hello.
but I think there was still this, and maybe it's naivete. I don't know what you want to
Yeah,
call
I
it.
was gonna say,
There
do you
was,
think it's ignorance and bliss? I don't know. I'm not
and
sure.
it
Yeah,
could be that like that's the only world they know. Like, I often remind people that I have
sure.
one of my kids only know Obama and Donald Trump as presidents. I mean, and Biden, obviously, Biden's in there too, but
Yeah,
that almost
yeah,
feels like
yeah.
a blip in the COVID years and all that.
For sure.
But I think about particularly my oldest, who is just older than
That's so
the
true.
kids that we interviewed for Teens at the Table, and how that is like her world. Her first president that she remembers is Barack Obama, and then to go from 2 terms Barack Obama into
The
what is now
whiplash.
2 terms of Donald Trump, strikingly different. I don't really care what your political whatever it is. Anybody
No,
who studies leadership,
that's
like
a
these people are
political
night
whiplash.
and
Mhm,
day,
mhm,
personality, family history, the way,
mhm.
whatever. And I know people have issues and critiques of all the dynamics. They are just
Sure.
substantively different people. And but that feels like so all that to say is that I think if that's been your world, like, the roller coaster, like, the whiplash of that, like the roller coaster ride of it. You're like, wow, like that was a serious pendulum swing. Um,
Right, yeah.
and
Hmm.
and so I don't know. I just think that their generation is just, every generation has had these significant experiences that shapes them. That they've experienced COVID, um, and obviously we did too, but they just experienced it at a developmental time.
Yeah, we're grown.
Yeah, 100%. I
Yeah,
mean, and so I just,
different.
I felt like
And the COVID babies are going to kindergarten. My niece,
yes,
she's going.
they are. Yes, they are. And they
You're
listen.
right.
They some plucky kids. They spicy. They got endurance. They
They've
got
been here before.
endurance
I was like,
going on.
"Hmm."
They have been here, survivors. But yeah, yeah. But I think that stands out to me now as we're reflecting is that like they were not afraid. They were concerned and they had judgments. I mean,
Right.
there's nothing like the teenage judgment. Like teenagers have PhDs in
Mhm.
judgment. Like they're like, hey,
They
this
do.
is a mess. They have PhDs in judgment. There's no doubt about that.
That's
And so
true.
I thought that was, and then obviously one of the other ones as a clinician, what stood out to me is our conversation around mental health. Um,
Mm.
and I appreciated the transparency, the vulnerability, um, and just yeah, and just the decision to share what these individuals decided to share. And again, we were mindful of their voices and protective of them in appropriate ways when you're working with teenagers. But
Yes, yes.
I was, and then we even have a young man for the social media panel who is not on social media at all,
Okay.
and
I've
he
heard about
unpacked
this
that.
trend. Yeah,
Yeah,
that does he also have a flip phone? Or you don't know?
I don't know if we had a
Okay.
flip phone
But
person.
that is happening where they're trending more, to where like,
Yeah.
away from all that, which I'm like,
Yeah.
wisdom.
I
Wisdom.
know. Well, and I gotta tell you, he was, a deeply thoughtful communicator and, very settled,
I'm
and I was
sure.
like, "Well, this is a commercial for, like, get off the social media." I mean, this and he talked about his reasons why, how he believes that it shapes
Okay.
people, and how he didn't wanna participate in that. So, it was great to hear that voice on a panel with the other kids talking about how they engage social media and the way that their Christian ethics, that's my words, but the way that, like, Jesus shows up and
Mm,
how they think they should show up online. So I think
mhm.
that's gonna be a cool conversation to listen in on as well.
Wow, as you were just saying that about, how the young man said, the ways in which social media, like, misshapes you or shapes or misshapes,
Yeah.
people and actually, automatically actually went to dating apps,
Oh my gosh. We
and
we
the
we we
ways.
have talked about that.
Oh, really? Okay. And you mean we the us is me and you. Okay, yeah, yeah, we have. But yeah, I'm thinking about the ways in which that also, misshapes and I've been thinking about, well, just beyond just it is exhausting, but just like I'm like, I just don't really want to invest that much time in that anymore. I just don't know that it's. I don't think it's the hell. I mean, praise God for people that do meet people on apps. I just don't
Yeah.
know. I don't. It's just not. I don't know. I think there's got to be another way.
Yeah, and
So
listen,
yeah.
sister, you listen. Let me tell you something. You have ran your race, and you have done a valiant effort. I'm a witness. It ain't it. Listen, well, you and so many other of
Yeah.
our just Holy Ghost filled, just wonderful single Black sisters who love the Lord and are just like, hey, can I just get my boo? But
Right. Right. Right.
but yeah,
Right.
but there is a way that I think the online dating, the
Yes.
apps have just done some misshaping And yeah, and it's, we always joke about like, can people return to the 90s, the
Yeah.
90s dating or whatever, where people
Yeah.
actually go out places and they learn how to approach people. And I think that actually is helping people to bring out their best self, is
Yeah.
is when you actually have to look someone in the eye and communicate with
Exactly.
them and hold a conversation versus this kind of weird stuff happening in the chat. Um, so 100%, like, social skills have to be like developed and exercised. And I wonder
For
to
sure.
what extent those dating apps or social media is really diminishing our ability to actually be with
Yeah.
people.
And it's a two-way street, right? So even now I'm like, I've
Absolutely.
been thinking, oh man, I have to be, a bit more. I mean, I'm gregarious, but I have to be more strategic, about that, and like more like, just more engaging, more conscious of it in that, when I'm out, just being a little bit more,
I know.
not going through haphazardly, not to be obsessive about it, but just be like, if you're not going to be on there, then okay, be intentional,
I
about
know.
things, and so it's a bit different. It's just a different world now. It just is. So,
Absolutely. Well,
and it
that
doesn't have to
I
be that way, but it is what it is. So,
I tell you what, that's even worthy of an episode on another topic, to talk about some of our
hmm.
friends who are anti-dating app but dating. It'd be fun to interview
Yeah.
them, because these are,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
we know folks,
That's
who,
true.
and what their social calendar looks like. My gosh, they out and about to make that happen,
That's
right?
great. Yeah. Yeah.
To
Yeah.
make it happen. But I just really enjoyed listening to these teens and what they were willing to share. It made us, as a team here at Truth's Table, eager to want to partner more with that population and to just give them the mics. I mean, we get on these mics because we are trying to point people to Jesus. We're trying to tell the truth, so that we can
Yes.
stay sane. And we're trying to have meaningful conversation, but they're not mics that we think that we hog. And so, if we love extending platform to people, because we're grateful for the one that we have. And so this is a
Yep.
great opportunity to extend platform. And I think they thought it was cool, like this idea of being like on the
Great.
podcast. And so I don't know how cool we are to the average 15-year-old, but I mean, they treated me as if I was cool that day.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I am looking forward, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that our audience is looking forward to this new season, or I'm sorry, series. Not this is my bad.
I mean, we listen, season number 75. Yeah.
Okay, so a new series, Teens at the Table. So y'all, make sure you let us know your thoughts and all the things as this series unfolds. It's a mini series. Want to be clear about that. It's a mini series, and since we're already, I guess, past the halfway point actually of True Staples season 9, so little mini series for you. So we can't wait. We can't wait to see the teens at the table, hear their thoughts and all the things. So thank you, Christina, for doing all of that. Good work. Talking to the teens, to the youths.
Yeah. It was a blessing. It was a blessing.
Yes. And of course, we want to thank y'all for taking a seat at the table with us this week. Let us know your thoughts about just this introductory episode about teens at the table.
Come on.
You can always share your thoughts with us on Instagram, Threads, Facebook,
Mhm.
at Truth Table, or you can email us your thoughts at asktruthstable@gmail.com. Black women. Truth Table has a Black women's Facebook discipleship group, so you want to make
Mhm.
sure you follow us on follow Truth Table on Facebook and join our Facebook group today. Invite your friends too. Don't forget to rate and review the show on iTunes and subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Truth Table has a Patreon account, so you can send your love offerings to patreon.com/truthstable, or you can bless us at our PayPal, which is paypal.me/truthstable. Truth Table's audio producer is Joshua Heath. Our video producer is Daryl Bradford, and Truth Table's executive producers and hosts are Kemini Uwan and Christina Edmondson. We'll see you soon on the next Truth Table. Bye, y'all.